Hey handcrafters, my name is Tiara and welcome to our craft table. Today we're making a glammed out jute and twine pumpkin wreath attachment. Stick around, you're not going to want to miss a thing. Okay handcrafters, let's jump into making this beautiful glam pumpkin wreath attachment using Dollar Tree's 9.5 foot decorative nautical rope. I'm going to go ahead and cut the tag and zip tie off. I'm going to take one end of the rope and place it in the palm of my hand. I'm making sure to leave about an inch of rope out of the bottom of my hand. I'm then wrapping the rope around my hand 4 times, then cutting the 5th rope from the top of my hand before it forms a loop. I'm now running a medium zip tie behind the rope. Let's slide this off my hand and lock the zip tie in place, but I'm making sure not to pull it too tight, just enough to keep the loops in place. So now I have 5 loops in total. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut the manufacturer's tape off the end of the rope and add some hot glue to it to stop it from unraveling. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more together before I speed the video up for the next pumpkin half. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and place one end of the rope in our hand, leaving about an inch of rope from the bottom of the hand. Now we're going to go ahead and wrap the rope around the inside palm of our hand 4 times and then cut off the 5th rope before we form it into a loop. We're going to grab that zip tie and run it from the back of the rope, lock the zip tie, and pull it off the hand to tighten it just a little bit but not too much. And finally, let's go ahead and glue both rope ends to avoid any unraveling. Okay, so let's go ahead and speed through this last pumpkin half. It's time to resize each pumpkin half. I'm going to do this by pulling down one loop at a time. As I pull on the inside, right loop is going to make the loop on the left side smaller. So basically, I'm just going to keep pulling each loop until I get them to the size that I need them to be. So now I just want each loop to be the same size. So as I adjust the loops, I'm holding them together, giving them a little pull to make sure they are all the same size. And once I have each loop exactly the size that I want, I'm making sure to give my pumpkin about a 2-inch or so stem. So as I pull to get that size correctly, it will make the loop closest to it smaller. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut the excess rope away and officially tighten that zip tie and cut the excess away. You guys, I absolutely love working with jute and twine. They make these little pumpkins so cute. And people are always amazed when you like how different this is on the traditional take of a pumpkin decor. Now they do add a really fun and unique touch to your fall decor. Now I've made this specifically for a wreath, but you can place these anywhere in your fall decor. And when I tell you, when family and friends come to your home and see these little guys incorporated into your fall decor, they are going to pick them up and they are not going to be able to believe that they are made from jute and twine. They're just that unique and people really do love them. So let's go ahead and resize the next pumpkin half. Now to do this, I'm going to use the pumpkin half that I've already resized as a template, if you will, for resizing the second half. Now I'm basically going to put them together to make sure that the stem is the same in size as well as the loops. So I'm just pulling down and up on each loop to get the loops smaller. I'm putting them together and giving them a little tug to see if they are all the same size. Now once I have them just right, I'm going to compare it to the first half. And we're good to go. Let's tighten the zip tie, cut off the excess, do the same to the excess rope, and seal the end with a dab of hot glue. Okay crafters, let's go ahead and turn this cutie into a wreath attachment. I have 3 pumpkin halves done. I'm going to grab the first 2, making sure that they are even with each other, and add a generous amount of hot glue to attach them together. I'm holding them together for a firm hold, and then I'm going to add a generous amount of glue and lay this green wired floral stem right in that glue, and another generous amount of glue to the stem, and attach the final pumpkin half. I've made sure to turn the zip tie lock to the sides. This way everything is flush. I'm just holding each half together, okay, to secure the hole. Now let's go ahead and secure the connecting ends with a little bit more of that glue, and hold everything together with our hands while the glue is hardening. Okay, so we've gone ahead and we've formed our pumpkin. Right now I'm really just spacing out the loops to see how cute my pumpkin is. So now let's go ahead and take our handy hot glue, because we have been using it throughout this whole process. Let's not stop now. Let's go ahead and use our hot glue and add a line of hot glue to the inside of one stem. Let's bring it together with the stem next to it. We're going to go ahead and apply a line of hot glue to the middle of the combined stems, and lay that third stem right in that glue. Now I'm pinching the stems together to make sure everything is secure. Okay handcrafters, let's go ahead and add some detail and give this cutie some life. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my Dollar Tree glass vase just to hold the pumpkin upright while I get my twine ready. I am going to go ahead and add a little dab of hot glue deep inside the stem base. I'm using the top of my jewel tweezers to push the ends into the stem base. I decided not to use the glass vase because I couldn't really get a good grip that I needed to tightly wrap the twine around the stem. Let me go ahead and bring you guys a little closer to see how I'm going to do this. I'm using my cutters to cut away some excess glue so I can start wrapping the twine. So I'm pulling at the twine and adding a dab of glue and working the twine up the stem, making sure to add a dab of glue every few wraps. I'm going to go ahead and try very hard not to add so much glue because I don't want it to overflow as I'm tightening the twine around the stem. And I'm just going to keep doing this all the way up, and I'm stopping right before I get to the top of the stem. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut down the glue at the top of the stem to make it nice and neat and nice and flat so that we can apply a top. This jute twine is also from the Dollar Tree. It came in a pack of 3. I use it so much that I really no longer have the original packaging to let you know how much comes on the 3 spools, but I do know that it is 1.5 millimeters, and it's like 3-ply jute. So I will try to find the description for you of the jute and leave it in the description below. Now, side note, you can definitely add another section of the pumpkin half loops. I only did 3 sections because I'm adding this to a wreath, and I want it to lay a certain way. So that means that my loops rather need to be a little bit more loose and open so that I can lay it how I want to. I'm pulling out the bling trim and cutting it to the size of the loops. I've taken one end of the trim, laid it on top of the loop closest to the pumpkin stem, and ran it along the loop and cut it at the base nearest the floral stem to get the appropriate size for the bling. So I've brought back my vase to hold my pumpkin while I apply the E6000 to the jute. I'm using my jewelry tweezers to attach this gorgeous 2mm crystal rhinestone trim to each loop. I seriously love this trim. It is so sparkly, so pretty, and easy to work with. Now, I will be making sure to leave the link in the description for you guys. I am adding the E6000 in a small section, and I'm making sure to keep the trim in the middle of the loop. Now, I'm not wearing any gloves, but you should definitely use gloves when handling this glue. Unfortunately, I didn't have the smaller gloves that I needed on hand at the time, so I had to make an adjustment and use no gloves because I really needed to get a handle on the rhinestones to place them where they need to be placed. But I did have some warm soapy water and a wet baby wipe on the side to clean my hands after I touched it, just for extra precaution, if you will. So I really did try not to touch the glue as much as I possibly could by using a wooden skewer and the top of my tweezers to move and press the trim in place. Okay, but I do suggest that you wear gloves. Now, this glue does have a strong smell, so I am wearing a mask and making sure to ventilate my workspace with open windows and a fan. Now, as I get to the stem, if I have any excess, I'm going to go ahead and trim it just by cutting it away with regular scissors. I made 3 of these cuties, and I did film like each one of them, but I lost the footage to my main pumpkin that I had designed. So here's what's going on in this video. This is another pumpkin that I was working on. I've added the rhinestone trim, and I'm going to wrap the middle of this pumpkin with wired jute that is also from Dollar Tree. Now let's go ahead and add our glue above the zip tie. We're going to take the end of the wired jute and firmly hold it in place over that glue. So I'm going to be adding the hot glue in a small sections as I run the twine through the loops and wrap the twine to the middle of the pumpkin. Because it's a pretty thick wire, it is a little bit hard to maneuver, so just go slowly to make even layered wraps, basically one under the other or one above the other. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap the middle with about 4 times, because I made some layering mistakes that I fixed by simply going over the 4th time. I'm going to just use my wire cutters to cut through the wire and my scissors to cut through the jute excess. I'm adding a dab of the glue to secure the wire ends and pressing and holding to make sure it stays. Now let's go ahead and separate our loops to reform a nice round pumpkin. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the 1mm twine to make a top. Now to do this, I'm placing the twine in between my thumb and my pointer finger and slowly adding twine one layer at a time on top of each other as I work to form a circle. I'm holding it firmly in my hand and pulling at the excess twine just to make sure that the circle that I'm forming is nice and tight in between my fingers. Now I want to make sure that my circle is the right size, so I'm making sure to lay it on top of the stem to see if I need to add or take away any twine, but it looks like I'm good to go. So let's go ahead and cut away this extra twine, and I'm going to grab my hot glue gun and add some glue. Just to one side of the circle first, while I press down on the other side, making sure that it keeps its shape. Now the side that I've applied the glue to, I'm simply going to press that glue in with my silicone finger as well as I apply the glue to the other side. Now I'm just using my finger to press the glue into both sides so that it forms and keeps this circular shape. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up the excess glue that spread to the sides by simply cutting it off with my scissors. And let's go ahead and add some hot glue to the top of the stem and center it. Basically, we're just going to work quickly before the glue hardens and mold the top to the tip of the stem. You guys, this is just so stinking cute. I absolutely love it. I love when you purchase all these supplies, you have an idea in your head, and to see it all just kind of come to life and slowly be able to create a piece of crafting artwork is absolutely amazing. I really do love it and really enjoy it, you guys, and I hope that you guys are loving this tutorial as well. If you guys are, please consider liking, subscribing, and turning on that notification bell. Alright, let's go ahead and get back into this. Okay, let's go ahead and add some detail with this floral wrapped wire. I'm going to use this to create a decorative vine flourish. Alright, so I'm going to use my wire cutters to cut away about 4 inches of wire and simply create a spring. I'm adding a dab of hot glue deep into the stem and pressing one end of the spiral right into it. Okay, handcrafters, now we need to add a pop of color. I am going to go ahead and cut off a single leaf from some extra greenery that I have. I'm placing the stem behind the vine spring into the already applied hot glue from when I placed the spring originally. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a skewer and press the stem into the glue. Now, to avoid any unraveling, I'm also going to apply a small amount of glue to the tip of the wrapped floral wire and just use my fingers to work the glue into the wrap to keep it from unraveling. Then using my scissors to cut away the excess glue. And there you have it. I love this pumpkin. I really wanted to add a pumpkin to this wreath, but I didn't want a traditional pumpkin. So I am just so in love with how this pumpkin turned out. It added such a perfect touch of glam and rusticness to this wreath. You guys, I love it, and I hope that you all do too. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and again, I hope that you enjoyed it. If you would like to shop for this wreath, it is available in our Maker Place by Michael store. The link will be in the description. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon for the next craft. Bye!
Thank you for watching. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss the next craft.